May I get in, sir? Assalamu alaikum.
Now you can introduce yourself to all of us. We are 4 people who will jointly interview you.
Sir, my name is Sharjeel Abbas. Sir, I hail from Sindh. My ancestral town is Khairpur, wherein lie the origins of my familial roots. Sir, the other city that is close to my personal identity is Sakhar. Sakhar is the city where I have spent much of my life, where I have also grown up, and where I have also studied till university. Sir, I have received my early and intermediate education from public school Sakhar, which is a prestigious school in my town. And sir, after the completion of my intermediate studies, I went to Nawabshah, from where I got a degree in civil engineering with a distinction. And so through this phase of education, I have also grown different hobbies and interests. My hobbies include watching tennis. Sir, it's a game that I've loved. It's a game that I've followed. And also my other hobby is the eating good food. I love different cuisines. Sir, my interests include writing, book reading, and also listening to European classical music. And the individuals of European classical music that I love are Beethoven, Mozart, and Wagner. And sir, as for my goals, I would like to say that I have remained a goal-oriented man, and the major aim that I have pursued with determination and discipline is that of CSS examination. Sir, it has been my top aim, and for that reason, I have prepared myself with discipline and fortitude for it. And it was my second attempt. I could not do it at the first attempt in 2018, but Alhamdulillah, I worked upon the factors that needed attention, and the second attempt went well, and as a result, I'm having this pleasure of sitting at this esteemed discussion with you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So you come from rural Sindh.
Right.
Can you give us the profile of province of Sindh?
Sir, Sindh is the third largest province of Pakistan, and sir, it is also very populous. Sir, it has a population of 47 million, and sir, it has 108 union councils, and sir, it also has 32 districts, out of which 24 lie in rural Sindh and 8 lie in urban. And sir, the largest city of the Sindh province is Karachi, and sir, it also plays a major role in the economic development of Pakistan, and it is a federal entity. It has its chief minister, it has its chief secretary, and it is also taken care of by governor, who is the presidential representative in Sindh.
Yesterday, the Prime Minister spoke about and directed to expedite privatization process. What is this privatization of state enterprises?
Sir, privatization is actually the liberty. Privatization is an activity by which private owners possess the entities that exist in the state. For example, sir, he made the reference to loss-making entities. There are a few institutions which are contributing to loss-making in this country, and they include Sui Gas, Sui Northern Gas, and different other institutes. So, sir, privatization is the means by which private owners enter the financial market and they own and possess or purchase the state-owned enterprises. So, it is the transfer of entities from the state hands into private hands.
Why this is a government policy?
Yes, sir, it is the government policy because it aims at economic development. Sir, for example, there are a great many entities which are not creating profit, which are not contributing to the economic development, and they are for one reason or another falling victim to loss-making disasters. So, sir, I think in order to help those entities make profit, or in order to help those entities to revive themselves, in order to help those entities to reform themselves, privatization takes in.
Sharjeel, most of the time we keep on listening. The government fixes the price of the different crops, say wheat. They fix the spot price. And in case of sugarcane, they fix the spot price of sugarcane. What is this concept? What is behind it?
Sir, this technique actually aims at the curtailment of inflation. So, for example, if you fix the price, sir, it helps the commodities to flow or to be purchased or to be bought at a reasonable cost. For example, sir, if inflation sets in, then the commodities become very expensive. So, in order to let commodities and goods stay at a reasonable price, the prices are fixed by the government.
No, but in a rural economy, you don't fix the price of cotton. You don't fix the price of a lot many other vegetables or things are growing, but you fix the price of only wheat.
Yes, sir, because it is, I think, the highly consumed. It is the crop that is majorly consumed.
And why they fix the price of sugarcane? These are the two commodities which they fix.
Sir, I think I don't have much idea of it.
When you fix the price, meaning by you are not giving them higher price, that you are depriving the rural population.
Sir,
What is the percentage of agriculture sector in the GDP?
yes, sir, it is 19%. If seen from the recent perspective, I think it is 19%. Maybe
19%. This is.
But I'm not sure about it. But I went through the statistics, but I think it has shown a regressive growth recently. So it was the share of agricultural amount, or the share of agriculture in national economy was over 20%, but I think it has reduced as of now. It has reduced to 19% maybe. So, but I'm not sure as to the current statistics. But I think
we are listening in the newspaper that there is a TLP. They are making certain agitation in the country. What is their demand? Why they are doing it?
sir, actually they have two major demands which they want government to fulfill. Sir, their leader is in prison. They want him to be freed. And sir, the other issue is concerning the French embassy in Pakistan. They have a great many ideological issues with the French government, and they want the government of Pakistan to close down its embassy in Islamabad. These are the two major demands that they have put forward, and the government has assured them that their demands government assured them that their demands will be considered, but still they want some expedient. They want a quick redressal of their grievances.
Because 2-3 days back, 4 people they killed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Lahore,
yes, sir.
Right, sir. Still the government is tolerating them.
Sir, actually, it's a democratic country, and in democracy, the individuals have the right to protest. So, if they are protesting, their right has to be, I think, safeguarded. So, government is allowing them to express their right through protest. But their demands, some of their demands may be acceptable, but there are many other demands of these individuals that are unacceptable. For example, the demands of the closure of French embassy cannot be accepted. So, I think a consensus may be reached. If the demands, if they become somewhat flexible, they have to understand the nature of international diplomacy. I mean, they also have to understand the operations by which democracy works. So I think they have to show some soft attitude to the government as well. And after that, because compromise is reached when two sides agree on certain matters. So the TLP has to do it if they want their demands to be redressed, if they want the demands to be fulfilled.
What is black economy and what are the causes of black economy?
Sir, black economy is actually a practice in which money is made through illegal means. And sir, it is the result of smuggling. It is also the result of many other economic activities that are deemed illegal in the international or in the legal atmosphere. Sir, smuggling is one of them, and many other like this.
Thank you, sir.
What is formal and informal economy?
The formal economy is, I think, related to the economics that are executed on a large scale. For example, if government is engaged in some economic activities, then I think it is considered formal economy. Means government is engaged in economic activities on large scale. So I think informal economy is more or less private. Private enterprises have a large share in the participation of this economic activity, I think, sir.
Informal economy is the question, it relates to the question, the black economy. One is the formal economy, which is documented, which the government knows. Yeah, these are the areas from which government is going to fetch revenue. So everything is under watch of the government. Government knows about each and everything, the financial transaction, the financial system. So it is transparent. So that is formal economy. The good economy, you can say that. And the informal is the black economy. People who earn money through illegal means, smuggling, you said, money laundering, and there are so many gun running. So that is under the carpet. And it is more than the volume of informal economy is more than the formal economy. So that is something very serious.
ये जो क्वेश्चन है ना, इनके जवाब फिर आपने जाके देखने हैं. They are available.
I will look into them, inshallah.
How important is the position of a police station in the police system?
The police station is actually the institution that is essential to the security of an area. So, for example, if some crime is perpetrated, then it is the police station's duty to redress it as quickly as possible. So we can say police station is essential to security and to the law and order maintenance of the entire situation. So it is necessary, or you can say it participates, or it makes major efforts at the attempts to maintain law and order.
What improvement you, as a DPO or as an SDPO, what will you try to bring about in the working of the police station?
First, the station has to be responsive if a trouble strikes. So I think it has to be responsive to that, and it has to handle that issue as quickly as possible. And second, sir, it has to improve its culture of working. For example, sir, there are many stations in Pakistan whose professional culture is quite dismal. For example, sir, corruption prevails in stations, and sir, many many individuals working there do not even show the willingness to take up the FIR. So, sir, these issues are prevalent in many stations of many areas. So I think
what will you do that the FIRs in your police station, they are readily registered, there is no delay in them, and people don't have to run here and there? Sir, what will you do?
Yes, sir. Actually, the individuals working at stations should be inculcated with the sense of public service. So if they have the spirit of public service, they will serve the masses in an effective way, in a good way. So if they have the spirit of service, then if a person comes to them,
what will you do? Presently, that spirit is not there.
Right.
So how will you put spirit in the working of the police station?
Sir, I will try to make them responsive to the public demands.
Okay. You say that I often cannot attend social events owing to the shortage of time. Yes. So what makes you so busy?
Actually, after graduation, sir, I wrote it with regard to my time of graduation. And sir, after graduation, I became involved with the preparations of my competitive examinations. So, sir, when I was devoting time to my studies, so it became quite difficult for me to attend these social events. So there were many marriages, there were many friendly events that I could not attend, sir, because I was completely absorbed in studies. So this was it.
Pakistan's nuclear doctrine. Do you know about that? Have you had any idea? What was that?
Sir, Pakistan's nuclear doctrine is that of mutually assured destruction. Sir, if India is actually the major threat to Pakistan's nuclear security, and we have also tried to maintain a deterrence with that country. So, sir, our doctrine is that of mutual destruction. For example, if India is trying to create some havoc, so I think we have to make sure that the damage is mutual and equal.
Pakistan's nuclear doctrine, you see, earlier it used to be something else, but now it is full spectrum deterrence. So, what do you mean by full spectrum deterrence? And what made Pakistan to enhance the level of its deterrence? There was certain.
But I have not much idea into this. I will look into this topic.
You should go and look into it. How do you see plea bargain as a tool of accountability?
It is a tool that offers relaxation to the individuals. So I mean, they involved in some bargain of options, or they involve the bargain of some activities. So I think it offers some relaxation to the individuals who are to be subjected to the accountability measures, I feel. So I think this offer of relaxation is something that is. I will look into it.
You're not clear about it. You should be clear about it.
Yes.
How will you define an organization? Public administration is your subject.
So organization is actually an atmosphere in which the different institutions are working in line with rules and principles. Therefore, there is a well-defined hierarchy. Officers are there, and they have to delegate orders. They have to relegate orders to their juniors, and they have to take them up. And so there is also the formal expression of rules. Rules have to be followed during workings. And so there are also the system of promotion and recruitment. So organization works through these principles and stages and areas.
And you are forgetting the goals and objectives.
So goals and objectives also that they have to define. Yes, sir.
Who was Max Weber?
Sir, Max Weber was a German sociologist, and sir, his major contribution to public administration was in the realm of bureaucratic theory. Sir, he defined it in a very well-defined terms. For example, he said that bureaucracy is theory that has to have well-defined hierarchy, that has to have formal rules, and that also has to have personnel, and that also has to have rules of recruitment that are well-defined. So, sir, his major area in public administration was theory of bureaucracy.
Sharjeel, one of your favorite personalities is Leonardo da Vinci.
Yes, ma'am.
Some say he was an artist, some say he was a scientist.
Ma'am, he was both. And he was actually a polymath, and he had the talent to imbibe or to excel at different fields. For example, sir, ma'am, he was also an engineer. He was also a scholar, and he was also a writer even. So he was a polymath, I would define him, because he was excellent in many fields. He painted well. He constructed many good works of engineering as well. So, madam, he was a man of encyclopedic insight, if I would say.
Some say he was an Illuminati.
Ma'am, Illuminati is actually an organization that arose in Germany by the end of 18th century. So Leonardo da Vinci died by the start of the 17th century. So I think there is not a connection between both, ma'am. So those individuals who say this, I think they have to revise their idea about it. He was not Illuminati, ma'am. He was actually a man who was a free thinker who pursued the interests of his passion, who pursued the interests of his life with full independence and freedom. So I think he was not Illuminati, so far as my view is concerned about him.
Thank you. Can you tell us something about Mozart?
Mozart was a German composer. He was born in Vienna, and his major activity was music. And he was also a court musician to the House of Habsburg. Habsburgs were the powerful people in Austria at that time. So he was a musician, and his major works of music were 40th Sonata and also 30th Symphony. And these were the major works that created a great euphoria throughout the cultural atmosphere of Europe. And it was the popularity of these works of Mozart that led the Habsburg court to hire him as their court musician. So he was, in other words, a god of music. That's why he was called Amadeus Mozart.
Yes, he was called Amadeus, but he was very eccentric and he was very young.
Yes, basically he was.
So do you think what contributed to his semi-madness?
There is a theory in psychology proposed by Carl Jung. He said that all those individuals who are genius show some erratic or eccentric behavior. So, ma'am, his eccentric behavior was that he was a little, he had this feeling of social anxiety. Whenever he would come out, he would feel afraid of people. In other words, major current psychologists say that he suffered from autism. Means he had this tendency to be afraid of people. And this autistic behavior proved to be a great obstacle to his professional career in music. And this autistic behavior, this aversion to people and this fear of people also led people to say that he might have been suffering from some mental disease. But apart from all this, he was a genius, and geniuses do show some erratic or eccentric behaviors. It is expected.
How do you see US-China relations?
US-China relations have remained strained. They have remained strained by the end of the last century. For example, Paul Wolfowitz, who was the defense secretary of US by 2009, by the turn of the century, he said that by the end of the USSR, the other communist threat is that of China. So they started their efforts at the containment of this country as the century began. So, China was simply aware of the facts that America was making efforts at the containment of Chinese power. They also then started to retaliate, because every state with sovereignty, with autonomy, has the desire and has this tendency to retaliate. And China retaliated in order to pursue and safeguard and secure its national interests. And this pursuit of national interests, and on both sides, American self-interest lied in the containment of China, and American self-interest lied in the expansion of its international power. So this clash of pursuits of interest, for pursuit national interest, led to a tussle and competition which expressed itself in recent times in trade wars and others. So I think relations have remained strained. There is a need for a reconciliatory policy. There is a need for rapprochement, and if both these nations somehow engage in a good diplomatic discourse, then they can make headways.
What's happening in Taiwan?
Taiwan is the place to which China has a very strong claim. Taiwan is actually a place which is controlled by China. Its foreign affairs, its communication, its everything is controlled by China. But now US has started to assert the fact that Taiwan needs independence. And it has even said in recent times that Taiwan should have membership at the UN as well. But China has rejected that demand because China says that Taiwan is the integral part of the Chinese dominion, whereas US says that Taiwan is imperially controlled, Taiwan is colonially controlled. So I think this clash of opinions and views expressed by China and America has started to turn Taiwan into a disputed territory.
US always said that they believed in one China policy. Then why are they saying this on Taiwan?
Then this one China policy is a little, whenever they make references to this one China policy, they always single out two other areas, Macau and Hong Kong. Hong Kong and Macau also assert independence from China, but US does not take them into consideration. They are always, their emphasis always lie upon Taiwan, and there is a reason for it. America wants to have an independent Taiwan in order that it can have military bases in Taiwan so that it can contain China from the south in South China Sea. But they do not make references to Hong Kong and Macau because they are on the mainland of China and they cannot serve US interests in that regard.
Thank you very much, Sharjeel.
Okay, Sharjeel, can you differentiate between plebiscite and referendum?
Sir, thank you, sir. Sir, plebiscite is actually the tool by which a community asserts or by which the community expresses its right to self-determination. And this plebiscite is organized by the UN, and it is the attempt at the discovery of the major goals of the community as to its future. For example, sir, Kashmir is an example. If plebiscite is organized in Kashmir, through this plebiscite, they will try to show their right to self-determination. They will try to show as to which dominion they want to join, either India or Pakistan, or they want to remain independent. So plebiscite is a means by which a country, by which a nation or community expresses its right of self-determination. And the referendum is actually an electoral method by which to bring about or by which to discover the major political concerns and grievances of a community. And both are more or less similar because they are democratic means by which to discover the democratic expressions of a community.
Okay, can you elaborate on what ground Marxism is different from communism?
Yes, sir. Sir, Marxism is actually a doctrine of class warfare and materialist tendencies. Sir, so these two themes have always run deep in Marx's theory of philosophy. He says that history is dominated by class warfare. Different classes opposed to each other, hostile to one another, have fought through the phases of history, and this class warfare shapes and creates history. Materialism, he says that he rejects Hegel's idea that his spirit or zeitgeist controls history. He says that material means of production, economic conditions of a society or economic conditions of the world determine or shape politics and other institutions. Whereas communism has a political tendency to it. Sir, it believes in the dictatorship of proletariat or dictatorship of the poor masses, dictatorship of the working class. And sir, it also has a mechanism of centrist or centralized political system. It always gives power to one party only.
Okay, which Muslim political thinker is your favorite?
Sir, he's Ibn Khaldun, sir.
Ibn Khaldun?
Yes, sir.
What was his political philosophy?
Sir, he pitched the idea of Asabiya. It had a political aspect to it to some extent.
Okay, Asabiya को आप किस चीज के साथ relate करते हैं?
Sir, to solidarity, to unity, sir.
Nationalism?
Yes, no, sir. National unity. I link it with national unity. Sir, for so long as.
Okay, what was the rationale behind the reign of terror?
Sir, it was introduced. The rationale was to bring about order in France. Sir, it was the creation of Maximilian Robespierre, and sir, he initiated this program in order to control anarchy, which was a result of the French Revolution of 1989. Sir, as he progressed into the consequences of the French Revolution, he saw that anarchy was rife, turmoil was widespread. So, in order to keep check upon social anarchy, he created the reign of terror. But it was a dictatorial arrangement, and it was a cruel regime which believed in persecution and massacre.
Okay, since we separated from Bombay, इसमें क्या फायदा था मुसलमानों का?
Sir, whenever a new province is created or whenever a new dominion is created, whenever a new territory is created, it gives a chance of self-rule or self-government to people. Sir, so the major benefit that Muslims got, that the Muslims of Sindh got, was that of self-government. So Bombay was separated Bombay and Sindh were separated from each other in 1937 by the implementation of Government of India Act in 1935. So, sir, the separation brought self-rule and self-government to the Muslims. They could determine their political future in Sindh. They could also control their economics. They could also control their society as a result of this self-rule given to them through the separation.
My last question. कैबिनेट मिशन प्लान का जो शॉर्ट टर्म प्लान था, what was that and was it successful or failure?
Sir, cabinet mission was indeed not a success in any perspective. Sir, its short-term policy was to bring about a compromise between the Congress and the Muslim League. Sir, the Muslim League was adamant upon its idea of a separate homeland, and it was indeed a legit and just demand. And Congress was adamant upon a single union. So, cabinet mission was simply a constitutional attempt, a British constitutional attempt at a compromise between these two parties. But this compromise could not have been brought about because, as a result of the signing of the Pakistan Resolution of 1940 and as a result of the Congress ministries of 1937, sir, there was
to the short-term plan.
The short-term compromise between Muslim League and Congress.
About what?
Sir, about politics, sir, about government, and about single Indian dominion.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's conclude this formal interview. Now we can make a sort of a discussion. Now you tell us what is your assessment, how you have performed in the interview?
Sir, I have lagged behind in some areas upon which I have to work. Sir, at the start, I was somehow incoherent as a result of some pressure, sir, if I have to be honest. Sir, inshallah, I will work upon this. I will try to be calm and relaxed as the interview progresses, and I will try to work upon some areas which I was unaware of, into which I did not have much insight.
Sharjeel, you were good, mashallah, you were good. Your personality is good. Some improvement, madam will tell you. You are intelligent and you have done a lot of hard work in life. Your communication skills, verbal as well as body language, body voice, body posture, your voice posture, this is all good. You have got the confidence, you are fighting, you have got a fighting spirit. However, there are certain knowledge gap. Some areas are weak that you need to attend. And you need to attend in a way that you must be focused. इधर उधर ना चले जाओ, ठीक है? I will advise you कि अपना एक 1-pager introduction जिस तरह बनता है वो बनाओ, ताकि उसी को deliver करो, उसी में अपनी सारी जो है ना strength ले आओ, ठीक है? Mirror practice करो, उसको बार बार पढ़ो. तुम ज़रा तेज बोलते हो तो थोड़ा सा पास दो अपने मिरर के सामने. जब खड़े होकर बोलोगे ना, फिर तुम्हें समझ आएगी हम क्या कह रहे हैं. पास दो. तो इंटरव्यू हम रिकमेंड करते हैं कि भाई अपनी को डायरी बनाओ, पॉइंट वाइज जिसमें लिखो हर इशू पे, ठीक है ना. जैसे ब्लैक इकोनॉमी की बात की तो आज जाके देखना ब्लैक इकोनॉमी क्या होता है, ब्लू इकोनॉमी क्या होती है, ठीक है ना. TLP के है क्या, ठीक है. और न्यूज़पेपर्स को डेली बेसिस पे तवज्जो दो. तो यू आर ए गुड कैंडिडेट. यू हैव तुम्हारी फाइटिंग स्पिरिट इज वेरी स्ट्रांग, ठीक है ना. तो इंशाल्लाह यू विल मेक ए गुड मार्क. सर,
हाँ, आपने बहुत से सवालों के जवाब बड़े अच्छे दिए हैं, लेकिन कुछ सवालों के जवाब जो है ना वो आपके पुलिस से रिलेटेड, पुलिस स्टेशन के मतलब उसके बेसिक फंक्शंस के बारे में आपको कोई आइडिया नहीं था. इसी तरह प्ली बार्गेन का भी आपको नहीं पता क्या है ये आजकल. तो ये है. बाकी जो है ये जब आप बैठते हैं तो ये अब आप देखें ना, ये इस तरह करके ऐसे नहीं बैठो. कैसे बैठेंगे. हाँ, दैट इज़ द बेस्ट थिंग. दैट इज़ द बेस्ट थिंग. या अगर बैठना है इस तरह से ऊपर करके ओवरलैप करके बैठे और उंगलियों के साथ फिजिटिंग नहीं करनी, ठीक है ना. हाँ, तो मेहनत करो. आप अच्छे हैं, आप में है पोटेंशियल है.
शर्जील, आप में बहुत पोटेंशियल है और थोड़ा सा आपका जो है वो नॉलेज गैप है, उसको फिलअप कर लो. आई एम कॉन्फिडेंट यू विल डू वेरी वेल. थैंक यू.
Sharjeel, you are well read.
Thank you.
आपने फिलॉसफी पढ़ी हुई है, एक चीज थोड़ा सा याद रखिएगा, कुछ क्वेश्चंस जो होते हैं जिनको आपको ऑब्जेक्टिव आंसर आते हैं ना, वो ब्रीफ आंसर दें, और आप हर क्वेश्चन को फैक्चुअल, आपसे अगर चीज जो आपको ऑब्जेक्टिव देना चाहिए उसको आप सब्जेक्टिव सा आंसर बनाने की कोशिश करते हैं।
Right, sir.
इसे कोशिश करें, ब्रीफ करें, और पाकिस्तान स्टडी का जो टाइम पीरियड है 1940 से ऑनवर्ड, उसे थोड़ा सा दोबारा से रिविजिट करें। ठीक है,
तुम्हारा कब है इंटरव्यू, कब है?
Sir, it will fall by the mid of December because I'm from Sindh, so I'm expecting in December. Right?
You lucky you are, you have got time,
Right, sir.
और तुम जो चीज एडवाइसेस है ना इनको संजीदगी से लो, तो यू मस्ट वर्क हार्ड, कंटिन्यू रखो, एंड यू कैन इम्प्रूव, तुम्हारा पोटेंशियल ठीक है, ठीक है,
जी सर।
तो बेस्ट ऑफ लक यार, थैंक यू।
Thank you.